Hey, what's going on, everybody? I hope everybody had an amazing Wednesday. Hope you had an amazing week. Hope your weekend was real good. But I'm hoping everything else be 10 times better for you. Before we get even started and going to what our topic is tonight, I've got to give a major shout out to an outstanding friend of mine, Miss Janae Berry. Uh, I want to send all my prayers, my condolences um, to Janae and the entire Berry family in regards to the loss of their sister in a horrific car accident. Man, I tell you, also I say every day to everybody, count your blessings, tell people that you love them, hold them tighter every day, give them the flowers while they're still here, let them know that you appreciate them no matter what. Janae, I'm going to let you know that everybody here at Unfiltered, everybody here, my family, uh, and all our friends and loved ones that we share alike. I want you to know that you are in our prayers. Anything that we can do for you, all you need to do is ask. And just trust in this time frame. Take hold of God's hand, and I tell you, He'll be with you in every single time. Um, and to everyone else that might be going through some things right now, send every special prayers. I got a couple of my hosts right now. I want you all to keep them in prayer too, and they loved ones. So to Jordan, Dom, Mac, and Crystal, uh, y'all in our prayers too, as well. I couldn't not do this show tonight. We definitely got to make sure it's done. It's on one of the most taboo topics in the African American community and just about every community of color. It affects every single person. It's not a respecter, it's not prejudice. It doesn't care how much money you have or anything else. It's the area of mental health. And I tell you, it's so serious. And it's about time we start taking some major looks at it. So tonight, I hope y'all join me and y'all ready for a great episode of Unfiltered. And like I said, we'll just take it from there. All right. So once again, greetings and peace and God bless to every single one of y'all out here that's gonna be here tonight, as we do all the time. And without saying, of course, I'm Mr. Johnson, here on Unfiltered with Mr. Johnson. Go ahead and share, comment, and we are going to have a very in-depth conversation about mental health. And in terms of mental health, what we mean is sometimes the fact that it goes so undiagnosed in communities of color, and it's such a taboo subject that most of the time, anyone that was like me, I don't want to say I was raised in the church. I don't like that statement. I heard people say I was raised in church. I was raised in church. I remember younger because for the first parts of my life, we definitely understood what God was, but we wasn't going to church as an organized religion like that. I don't think until I was man, it had to be almost like 10. I guess just going to church on Sunday wasn't, we didn't do that. Actually, to be honest with you, probably end up going to service like that ended up after I pretty much got old enough and said, okay, I wanted to kind of do it on my own. So I want to say maybe almost close to being a teenager, just about. But most of the time, what I saw is that when anything came up or anyone said anything about someone being crazy, what they would do is they would say, either it was demonically possessed. They'll tell them to go up there, leave it on an altar, and I've seen them lay hands on them, pray them, push their heads, and do everything else in regards to it. And it was really at the time frame you thought that's the way you dealt. I think in most subjects, and sometimes they chose to say, okay, this is how we're gonna deal with this, and we're gonna leave it just like that. There's nothing but spiritual. Now, I absolutely, positively, 100 degree agree with the fact that I believe that mental illness has definite forms of spirituality in regards to it, whether you want to call it demonic or anything else. I definitely believe that, but I believe it's an aspect of it as well that it needs to be a constant and a treatment for it, and it needs to be addressed in the community. And a lot of these time frames, because I've seen so many, especially young Black men, go through so much that you don't realize that even when we were young, and you saw so many guys going through things, and you would just count it off that, oh man, he tripping. Y'all know what I'm talking about. We that's how we cast, that's how we just put it on there. Even going in high school, man, he just tripping, he crazy. Not knowing that you had no idea what this individual was dealing with at home, whether it be men, or boys or girls. You had no idea what they were dealing with at home. The only people that maybe might have had an inkling of what's going on is their closest friends. And they still didn't have an idea of everything that was going on. It wasn't until I got older and was able to start mentoring to young men and young women, is when I realized that mental health had gone undiagnosed for I don't know how many years within communities of color. We just we made it so taboo and almost put a red X on it, like, no, don't you mention that. Don't you dare mention it. Let's not talk about it. Okay, we ain't talking about you, talking about you feel crazy, you feel depressed. First time you heard that, it was like, oh man, that's spiritual. Let's throw the Bible in. And I think we did a lot of harm to our young men and women. And I mean Blacks or brown folks. I mean individuals who are highly spiritual didn't take an accountability that we needed an outlet to get mental health. We just didn't do it. We kind of failed each other in that aspect. So tonight, as we said, this is where we want to gear this toward tonight. Mental health as a whole. So everybody, as I stated, please share, comment, support, and get it out there, because it's going to be a little healthy topic tonight. Might not go as long as we normally do, but tonight still want to have a good, constant, good dialogue in regards to so many things, especially when it comes to this subject. If we really get down to it, especially when we look inside the Black community, mental health has been treated like a stigma. It's not new, because we remember in our neighborhoods and everything of that nature, you had that one person like, man, he ain't got it all there. He ain't there. You were used to the sudden outbursts, the sudden explosions. And then we just, cast it off, you know what I'm saying? That's crazy Dave. You know what I'm saying? Or, blah, 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 blah. Or any, wherever I was, we would just cast, that's how we would, okay, some of us just had fun. Like, man, don't go by him. He got kind of a screw loose. And like I said, it wasn't until we got older, and especially when we realized and would actually come to some type of, how can I say this? We come to some type of realization that, man, we got a lot of things going on within our community and we did not diagnose it and give it the attention that it deserved. And what I mean by that is that factually, so many times we thought that we were doing the right thing by either not talking about it, sending folks to church like that, or just manning up, no matter what happened, wherever the situations were. We did not realize that a lot of people of color were walking around with PTSD worse than some individuals who had served in the military. Just that cautious. We become so used to adapting to it. Like, okay, this I'm gonna just have to roll with how this going out. You realize that you've ever been, and I remember I did this back in college. It was an experiment. I think it was in my junior year. And we did an experiment. And what they did is they read off situations. And what happened is that we were hooked up to these little monitor things. We read off different situations, and as they were asked questions, and they would monitor the waves and how things would change in our thought process. And I remember this vividly because I remember one of the questions were, police car drives behind you. Where people, and it was like about 7 of us that was either black or, saying Latino. It was different. But our heart rates were almost literally going through the roof. Our mental pattern was going through the roof, which indicated unrest. Like, oh man, why is this person behind us? But we realized that we've been doing it for years. We ain't done it for years. We got used to being profiled. We got used to cop coming behind us, pulled over, and you just think, oh man. Even if you knew everything was good, we ain't talking about if you knew you were dirty, if you knew your license was suspended, and we ain't talking about that. We talking about if you just knew that everything was good, you just instantly thought, oh my goodness, cop. It comes to terms with a lot of us, especially the males, that seeing the police officers wasn't a sign of, whew, it's over. It was a sign of, whoa, it's just beginning. And in that experiment, I remember my teacher, her name was Miss Professor Hooper, and she was just like, why? And she asked us, like, why it seem that way? It's like, because normally when we see police, it's not to help the situation. It was actually to antagonize the situation or make worse or harass us. We were asked to get out, get on the ground, hands up. It wasn't no, hey, is everything okay? Is everything fine? It wasn't that type. It was always a situation where we felt like anything that we could do, we had to make sure that we didn't do any sudden movements, anything of that nature. And I might not speak for every black male. I'm speaking from Mac. So I'm speaking from black male that was born and raised on the east side of Detroit. And when we saw police, even though we weren't doing anything, it was just, it would make you feel like, almost like you had something about to explode. You had a high tension. That feeling used to be traumatic. Chest be heavy, even when you're not riding dirty. And yeah, and that's what I was saying, Jay. It's just, you can't describe it. You just know, you hear circumstances, and when you have to experience the circumstance, I can't tell you how many times I was told to get out the car, and I was either on the hood of the car or sat down on the side of the car saying that I fit the description. And I don't have a record. I don't have, anything of that nature. So it was always traumatic. You'd be like, just be calm, play it cool, and you'll be straight. And for the most part. But most of the time, it's almost like it's like a cardiac. You wasn't on that. You see them blue and red lights in the you know what I'm saying, in the rearview mirror. It wasn't a good feeling. You didn't feel safe. You felt like, oh man, here we go. Here's some irritation. Here's some everything else, So it's a lot of that. And among other things that we never discussed openly in our community. So many. all the triggers that end up happening. A lot of this stuff we didn't realize, especially within communities of color, and especially within Black males and Black females. One thing I can give great applause to when it comes to races such as whites, for the most part, a lot of whites, and there's that it seemed like they didn't have any type of how can we say, they didn't feel any type of way about going to get help. It was encouraged. They wanted to go see a shrink. They wanted to see their therapist. They wanted to be able to have the ability to talk to people and get a clear opinion from someone that doesn't know the insides of the situation. And as I stated before, my first time where I really realized that, okay, I myself needed to go see and get some type of mental help was after my father had passed. It was very traumatic for me. What happened with my father is that I didn't really, there's a lot of things that happened with my mother and my father. And they were both like, I always speak high of my parents. They're incredible. Dorothy and Randy Sr., two incredible individuals. You couldn't ask for better parents. Just like any other married couple, they ain't have the book on what to do, right? You ran into some issues, you go through some things, and a lot of people don't realize that, especially when you're young, until you get older, and you have to go and walk it out with a person that you're with. And it ain't easy in relationships. When my father, it was more so of in the beginning, financially, I never ever wanted for anything. Never. My father made sure I had. The other problem that came into play with that was that the time aspect wasn't there. Like I said, my father, great man. I know I get a lot of my great qualities from him, and I hope the bad traits don't overtake me, and you could be a certain type of way. But in the beginning, like I said, it's just I really knew after he got murdered, and what happened is my father was gunned down on the side of my mother's house. It was a weird situation because you hear gunshots all the time, especially east side of Detroit. You know about it. You hear them. You don't really give a second thought to them because you hear them so often. This time, these 6 shots sounded, I don't want to say fake, but it just didn't sound like it normally did. But I hope nobody ever have to experience that. But it just sounded like almost like a pop gun. It didn't sound real. It just seemed real close and just not with that normal sound that you think you would hear. And if you go to the range, you know what I'm talking about, if you of that nature. So when hearing that, and then coming on the side of the house, there I saw my father collapsed in my mother's arms, and that's where he died as well. So after that, I just didn't want to face a lot of things. I was cool. Well, I thought I was cool the whole time. I thought I was fine going about my daily life, making funeral arrangements and doing everything and moving forward and going back to work. And what I didn't realize is that I wasn't fine. I was completely messed up. I just wasn't there. And I remember when I went to work and someone said something just out of the blue, crazy. And I went so far off the deep end that I was like, wow, like, dang, I didn't know it was going there. And, for personal reasons, I ain't gonna say everything I did, but I'll tell you that it was reckless. So I remember going to talking I didn't want to go to my mother. I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go to church. I didn't want to do anything. I'm like, man, I'm not about to talk to nobody about this right now. I'm tripping. And it wasn't until one of my best friends that I described before to y'all was telling me about some issues that he was having about feeling like he wanted to end it all. And when I found out that he was going to counseling, he had just, it made me say, you know what, I need to get some help. I don't want to be this way and having this eating up my whole life. And going to see my therapist, it was one of the most, at first, one of the weirdest experiences I ever experienced. I got a chance to go there, and what happened is, you know, I remember just talking, talking, and talking. And at first I was getting upset because I'm like, you want me to do all this talking, but I don't hear you trying to say anything else to me. You know, I didn't remember saying nothing. I got to the point where I'm like, if this all I'm gonna do is talk, I can just, I could do this anywhere. I could have did this at home. I could have just went and talked and just forgot about this. And, you know, I ain't had no reason to be like, why come here? Because all I kept thinking was, I'm here. Yeah, my insurance, but I'm paying for it and it still don't feel right. But what I realized slowly but surely, it was like allowing me to talk myself until it got to particular points where it was like, bam, okay, so tell me about that a little bit more. And when I started talking about it, it's almost like bells and doors started opening to things I had closed my mind to, things that I did, things I took part in. I'm like, man, like, wow. And when he started hitting that and start seeing like, whoa, I didn't like, I forgot all about that. And thinking like, I can't believe that that came back up. It was like one of the weirdest things ever. I remember one situation that I thought I got over because I was able to admit, like, yeah, I understood it happened and I'm good on that. But the other part that I messed up on was that I never got, like, I don't want to say closure, but I was never able to get settled because all I did was admit it and threw it away. Like, okay, I'm just gonna bury it. I'm good to go. And then as I started talking more and more about it, that's when I realized, whoa, it hadn't gone. And I believe that's why I always encourage people that you always need someone to have that discussion with. And if you can, with a professional, I always seek that out. I mean, go sit there and talk because it did wonders for me. It took some things off, some misconceptions that I had about admitting that, man, mentally something ain't right now. And that's not saying that you're crazy, that you're lapsed. It's saying that you're human. You've experienced some events that you need some help with, that you got traumatized with. And when these things start happening, you got to have an outlet. And your outlet, God willing, like I said, get on your knees. And like I said, I'm a man of faith. You get on your knees, you can pray about it, you can talk it out. But at the end of the day, you got to have, hey, what's going on, Jay? Mackenzie, I see you, Jay. You got to be able to have this open talk and open dialogue with a professional. That's why I root for people when they want to go talk to therapists. I believe it's outstanding. I think that I believe that, as I stated, more people need to talk to their therapist. Mackenzie, I'm going to read this comment I saw on you. It says, I think it's important to talk about how in the Black community, if you can't just eat the things that happen to you and move on, then you're weak. So by proximity, going to therapy makes you weak because you should have been able to handle it on your own. And I think that I agree with you on that. Absolutely, like 100%. That's why I had to just do it for myself. But like I said, I didn't really know about therapy that you know about it. But like you said, most of the times in Black community, it's such a taboo to mention crazy or something like that. Man, I just think I need some help. You need some, like I said, I've seen so many where people just, all right, just help, man, just take down the offer, man. That's a spiritual. I think that's an aspect of it. I think it's a percentage of it, but it's not all of it. And I think we're starting to see a lot of the residue of majority of, especially in the people of color, especially with us, where we kept pushing it to the side and no one dared to step out and say, oh man, yeah, that's all I mean. And we see it all the time. I see it all the time on Facebook. I'm being honest, just from going to therapy, I see people all the time on Facebook. I'm like, man, they need to just talk to a psychiatrist. They need to talk to a therapist. They got some deep-seated issues. And then you can see it, you can feel it. You can talk to people and see it like, man, you might have something going on. And you hear what stuff people say. I believe people speak just like in jokes. When people make jokes, come out, man, I think I'm going a little crazy. I'm like, I'm a firm believer it's truth in jokes. When people start making jokes about things like, man, I'm going crazy. This and I'm like, yeah, I think he is going a little crazy. And I think that what we need to do is get some help. Post-traumatic stress syndrome. And that's what I was saying, bro. It's so many people of color that are walking around with PTSD. And they have no idea. They're shrugging it off and just throwing it to the side that they don't have it. Mackenzie, and we can talk about how if you're the person in your friend group that's financially well off, then it can't be possible for something to be wrong with you. No. And it's like I said, because you got more people on the average making over, and I like pulling up. Y'all know I like pulling up facts. More people on the average that makes over 150,000 a year. I'm sorry, 250,000 a year that commit suicide. So you have more people that are well off, that have money, that commit suicide than people that are not financially well off. And those are just fact-based fact-based stats right now that I've been pulling up, because I've just been looking. That's why when I said and we were talking about it, that's one of the main things I talked about. I said mental illness is not prejudice, and it's not a respect of a person. It don't care how much money that you have. It don't care if you're black. It don't care if you're white. It don't care if if you're straight, you're gay. It don't care if you're tall, you're short, you're big, you're small. It don't care about none of that. It's exactly what it is. It's an illness, and we need to get this addressed. Better sooner than later. When we start seeing, for a long time, blacks associated people being crazy and suicide as being a white person issue. Oh, that's white folks. White folks love killing themselves. And that's sad. And because I remember a lot of people doing that, and I can't lie to you. I was almost in one of those frame of mind too. I was like, oh, that's white people stuff. Only white people kill themselves. They can't handle the stress. But that's not true. It may be some high numbers for Caucasians, but guess what? Now in this day and age, we are starting to see more people of color committing suicide. And I'm glad that you brought that up. It's been coming. We have dealt with this for a good over 400, 500 years in our community. We've just never addressed it. And this is why when we talk about it, that's why I said it's such a conversation piece. It's been such a taboo because we just been taught, well, stick it out and be strong. You got to stick it out. You got to be strong. You got to keep it moving. You got to understand that. Most, like I said, you would think with black women who've been subject to seeing so many, it's been seeing so much, especially when black women have been able to have, and I would put them How this ain't a competition who got it worse and got it bad, but black women not only saw the torture of a man, the rape of a man, they experienced the rape, they experienced the torture. They also experienced sometimes a man running out on them. They also experienced of being loyal and just still trying to figure out why men would not be subject just to them. Man, I tell you, it's a different monster. It really is. There's never been like I said, expressed. And I see what you're talking about, Mackenzie. I see. I know you said speaking personally. Money doesn't fix everything. It won't bring my family back. It won't give me the time I lost with my dad before he passed, or abuse I experienced growing up. And I could spend whatever it costs, and it wouldn't change anything. Because of that, money hasn't helped depression or anything else in a way that I thought it would. And you know what's funny, Mackenzie, when you bring that up, I remember, and like I said, when I started, I said I needed to go see this therapist. I started after my father died. And then I stopped because I'm like, okay, I'm good. And then as I was married, I realized some things in my marriage. And I can openly admit this now because of the fact that I went and had help and I was able to look at different aspects of it. I can admit to this part. I remember being married, and I can openly now for the first time admit, and I've said this to people close to me, that I gave up on my marriage too fast and very quickly because I still had things mentally that I had not addressed. And I still didn't feel comfortable expressing to my wife. And when things, for some apparent reason, I didn't like the way the things were going, I said, you know what, I'm done. I want a divorce. And I did give up fast. And I can admit that now, as I stated, because the fact that I was able to get help, because I still realized I still needed the help. I got the divorce, and I thought that would just make me feel better. Like, I'm divorced, I'm good, I'm done now. And the problem was that I love marriage. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it was a mistake with me divorcing my wife. I'm saying that I gave up, and the reason why I got divorced is because of some issues that I had. Now, count it all, it's some things she did that led up to it, but it's never 100% someone else's fault. That's what I'm saying. I believe that people get caught up and never get healed from situations because they tend to try to put all the blame on one person instead of just looking at themselves too for a certain aspect. So after that happened, I realized, man, okay, I got to get some help because I haven't still resolved that. And after I went back to it, and I realized it was some things I still didn't have given up because I had a deep-seated distrust for women. You know, just like I like to know a lot of men say, oh, these women out here hurt, man. They hurt by men. But dudes getting hurt by women too. The problem is black males, to be honest, and let's be for real, didn't have an outlet to talk about the issues. Black males for so long have been dealt the hand of suck it up, nigga. Let's get it going. You a man. Don't you cry. Don't you do this. You ain't got, all these other things. Every little other hidden secrecy that we have, they want to just put it out there for us. You can't do this. You can't do that. This make you less of a man. Don't do this. It jacked us up. So you may talk to it with some of your boys that you might think was confidant, but you need to go deeper than that because the problem is when you talking to a group of guys, even though y'all loyal to each other, y'all all still don't know how to handle this mental health aspect of it. And this is why in this day and age, especially all these young guys, they cannot handle rejection. I know I ain't the only person that knows this. A lot of young guys cannot handle rejection. It's like a crusher for a lot of these young guys. They go crazy with it. They killing girls over rejection. Oh, you don't like me? Well, I can't get your number. I mean, is she every bitch, hoe, and everything else in the book now? Before, back in the day, I remember going out, and if you got rejected, you just got rejected. You went on and tried to talk to another girl. But now it's horrible. They can't handle rejection. They don't know. They know nothing about it. It bothers them because whatever happened in their lives, they have been so tormented through our own beginning of lives and never, ever, ever have been helped mentally in regards to that. They never had an outlet. Never. Let's take a look right here. I don't know if black men really knew about black women, especially if you're not light skinned. Also was also given that suck it up talk. Okay, let me see. Let me read that again. I think I read it too fast. I don't know if black men really knew, but black women, especially if you're not light skinned, was also given that suck it up talk. I believe that. I believe it on both sides. I believe this would happen on both sides when it came. That slavery talk is so deep. Is that we were just taught to hate each other. That was the bottom line of it. Separated. If you separate them, you make this one hate that one, it's all good. And that that's another conversation for a different day. But a lot of dark skin, I believe that dark skin and light skin. That it was just we had all experienced, especially like my bro was saying that we have all had this experience and it's been just passed down to suck it up or pray it off. Mackenzie, to bring the other perspective of that, as a lighter skinned woman, I was always said it's easy when it came to men. And that's exactly what I'm trying to say. Everybody think the other side got it more easy than the other side. And that's not true. If you think about it, light-skinned women, it was the gift and the curse back in the day because your beauty was also your curse, which means that you probably got raped a little bit more. You was treated a certain way. You were treated like trash more. Same thing with dark-skinned woman. If you was out in the field, you was a pretty dark-skinned woman. You were treated as such. So it was almost like beautiful black women at that time was a gift and a curse for them. So it was like they was pitted up against each other to make think you are worse off than them. And that's how you get it all going together. I'm always dumb because I'm light-skinned. And it's crazy. And what happens is that in so many aspects in the black community, instead of trying to heal each other, we were taught to continue to hurt each other. And that began the complete destruction of us becoming unified a lot. And like I said, and that created so much hostility just because to think about it. So now you got to deal with hatred among people in your own race. Now you deal with hatred for people of other races. Then you deal with it from other economic classes. You deal with it from police. You deal with it from lawyers and the court system. You deal with it from financial institutions. Think about that. If we start thinking about that deeply, can't you see how badly hurt and damaged our community is? That's some deep thinking. If we have really started thinking about so many different things that, man, we are walking around as a bunch of hurt individuals, not really realizing our true worth. Absolutely. And that's what it is. People are upset because think about it. When you've never, ever, all you've been given is move to the back, 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 move to the back. You back there, now win the race. That's how we've been treated. We've been treated that way forever. Women alone. So, because you know why? When they put us all in the back, then they start saying why we in the back. Hey, the black woman is destroying the black man. Oh, the black man don't like the black woman. Oh, he preferred light skin. Oh, he preferred dark skin. She preferred light skin. It was like that battle was always put in place to never make us allow us to realize and see, dang, why are we fighting ourselves? Why we fighting ourselves? Everybody doing laps, and we ain't done the first one yet. And that's a big thing. And that's been a big, huge thing in our community. And it's like, that's why I always said, when we talked about so many different things, that's why I say in our community that I'm glad, I'm really glad that a lot of this election stuff is getting over with. And now we can get to what the real aspect of the things that we need to do. And that's working and getting healing and prosperity in our own community, in our own homes first, and then spreading it. I'm always a believer that charity starts at home. In every religious text, they say this all the time. Charity starts at home. And I think a lot of reason why we have so many lingering issues, especially when it comes to mental health, is because at home, things have happened, whether it's been incest, and y'all know what I'm talking about. When you have people with incest issues, they be like, oh, let's not say nothing about it. Let's stay in this house. We ain't talk. You don't think somebody would get traumatized knowing that the people that's supposed to love you the most are the people telling you to be quiet about it? It's telling you forget about it. Don't worry about it. Don't tell nobody about it. We don't want to get this person in trouble. We want to get that person in trouble. All that, what you're talking about, stay in-house. That's traumatizing. That alone, I couldn't even imagine that. How would you even feel comfortable being around someone that you know had done that to you? And these supposed to be the uncles. I personally know families right now with young women whose uncles and cousins have molested them, touched them, and did them in all certain type of way, and they have never spoken out about it. They've told me in brief circles of confidence and things of that nature, and I'm looking like, wow, man, you got to go around with that on your mind, your heart. When you have to see them, your heart jumping out your chest. You got to make up reasons why you don't want to be around them. You got to make up reasons why you don't want to go to this gathering. You don't want to see this person or be around this person. Man, I couldn't even imagine that. And that's just on the real. I couldn't even imagine that. I'm gonna get to a lot of y'all comments too as we going along. Let's see here. Let me see. It's funny how women are being told to behave like superwomen, but excuse men for not being Superman. The three things black men only got to do, it seems, is to have a job, a home, and money, and he's considered successful. Women have to actually climb the freaking beanstalk, slay the giant, and bring the treasure down to be recognized. Let's see here. Let's see here. I can understand. I agree to that to a point. I think it depends who you talk to on that aspect. I've always been proud. And see, let me flip it on this side for you, because I understand what you're saying, Jay, in that turn for you. Some women have gotten to that point where they did everything like you said. They you know how you said slave the giant, did all those things, and do I think it's unfair? I think this. I think every able-bodied adult should know how to take care of yourself. I don't think people should be given applause and awards and accolades for things that we are supposed to do. People say I'm a good father, and there's a lot of good fathers out there, but that's what I'm supposed to do. I am required to make sure that my family and any offspring that I have are protected and provided for. I've seen the situations, as you said, where some women are expected to be that way. I've seen some situations where there are men, and there's a lot of men out there. So we got to make a quick I don't know what the word I'm looking for. We got to make a distinction between men and boys wearing men clothes. It's a difference. Boys can play dress up, but when it comes to actually performing and doing the things that are required by a man in this role, it's a totally different story. You got plenty of guys out here that look the man part. They can wear the suit, they can wear the pants, they can screw and everything else. But when it comes to every responsibility and everything that it details to the job description, they underperform to completely or incapable of doing what they're supposed to do. That's the difference. So, like I said, with myself, I've been where I'm not a caveman, but I've been where when I was married and knowing I told my wife that you didn't have to work if you didn't want to. Concentrate on, I'm all about wealth generations, and I've been that way my whole life because, like I said, I see my mother and father do it. So I've always brought up in the good wealth mindset of things. And I said, well, go ahead. So, you can, that's why anytime I'm on here, I'll say everything I say. It can be fact checked. All you got to do is talk people on the page about, okay, yeah, that's true. And my credit is good enough where I don't need somebody to co-sign for the things I do. What I'm saying is that I've been in a situation where I have been the breadwinner, and I wanted to make sure that a woman had, like the easy roll, like, hey, you don't have to worry about that. I'll make sure to take care of what you want to do. You want to go to school, you want to start your own business, you want to do it, go do those things. Don't have to worry about out here. You don't have to worry about that extra stress of that. That's what I'm here for. And I've seen women get bored. A lot of women get bored and take care of business. And I'm just being honest. And see, and that will fall into the other aspect. It's a difference between women and little girls wearing women clothes. So, and that's why I'm saying, that's why I like to put everybody in a different group. I think that everybody is different to the point. That's why I said I'm always careful with that word, everybody, because it ain't everybody. I think that people should be judged on actions alone. That's what you should be judged on, your actions. Depending on what it is, you should be judged by your actions alone. So I've seen it both ways. I've seen women that it seemed like they have to work their behinds off, and to that instant, and you have some women that work their behinds off because it was a necessity that they worked their hands off. They put their trust in people, and they were let down, and they say, you know what, I'm never going to be in that position again, which is a form of PTSD, because guess what? Mentally, it affects every relationship they have after that. Everything could be going right back into why some people do the things that they do. Our community is really stressed out because a lot of people that we put our trust in, and our love in, and our commitment in, drop the ball. And then another way to look at that too is that we did something that you should not do in life, is that get mad at people for being the friend, getting mad at people for not being the man, the woman, the friend, the confidant that we wanted them to be. What we should be saying is that's my fault. I seen the type of individual that they were through their actions, and I thought maybe they would change. And that does happen. That happens so much. And I mean, that's what it is. We do too much of, oh man, she let me down. She been letting you down. Oh man, he let me down. He been letting you down. We've shown so much of getting hurt that some of us become so accustomed to it. And then we get mad at people for doing what they've been doing. We can't do it. And that's something I always I stand by and say all the time, I've seen it too much. And I'm speaking just for myself. I like getting mad at people. Like, how can I be mad at you for not being the friend I wanted you to be? That makes entirely no sense. You've been a liar, but I'm mad at you because you're not honest. No, I'm mad at myself. That's what happens most of the time. We get mad at ourselves because we put our trust in people we knew we should not have trusted in the first place. Because you can't sometimes, and women do this more than men, and men do it too, but I see it more in women. Women, how can I say this? Black women loyalty, and I've said this over and over again, nothing compares to a Black woman's loyalty. That's why businesses, political associations, and parties all want Black woman business. Black woman business is big business because when you get the loyalty and the backing of Black women, it's been shown. If you ain't got to believe me. Just look through our history. When Black women get behind something, they are full-blooded behind it, and they are going all the way through. They do it all the time. You don't believe me? Ask the Democrats. And that's not trying to throw shots out, but it's just the truth. And here's what men. Black women will throw their loyalty behind men because they see the potential. Like, I love him. I see the potential. I know he can get there. I know he can get there. But the problem is, there's nothing wrong with loving a man and saying, I know that he's got potential. But he's got to start living out his potential. That's the difference. What happens is that women fall in love with men because of the potential, but the man don't start living out and walking in his potential. He's quite comfortable. And let me tell you something, there's nothing wrong with someone, it's nothing worse than someone who's comfortable. It's just like in every aspect of life. You know, if you're an athlete, you don't want an athlete that's comfortable. If he's comfortable, that means he's going to stay where he is. He's not going to train any harder. If he's getting a result he like, that's what he's going to do. You want somebody that's always, I don't want to say, that's the best way to say it, that's uncomfortable, that wants to push it to the limit, that wants to get better, that wants to see what they can do to strive for more, period. That's what you want. So what happens in a lot, and like I said, guys do it too, but I notice that more in women all the time. And women do that with so many different men to the point they got so upset. They're so heartbroken. They're so distraught. They're so disappointed. They're so tired of being let down. They're so tired of being crushed that they go through it, you know what? I'm never going to have this situation happen to me again. And I know that's because I'm from a family of women, and I've seen it over and over again. I'm like, man, why are you trusting him? This guy a scumbag. And you do it all the time, but she didn't love him. What happened? Get crushed. Then it get to the point where she's like, okay, I'm never going to have myself in a position like that again. And you know what sucks? That they so hurt by it, they don't see when they finally get someone that's really want to be involved, that's really on the ball, that's out there living out more than his potential. He's striving past it. She gets offended because she feel like, now you're trying to come in here and bulldog me out of a space that I've been in, that I had to take the standard up for because guys like before you couldn't step up to it. She gets afraid. She gets cautious. She gets scared. She gets so much where he push him away so much where he's like, man, I'm just, I'm here trying to help you. And it's gone. Like, okay, you're gone. Now somebody chased away. That's where that theory of talking about the hurt Black woman come into play. And this is what I tell most people. Why shouldn't Black women be hurt? Why shouldn't they be sad, man? They've been through a lot. And I ain't talking about ones who are purposely bad out here. I'm talking about the ones who have been strong, they've been good. It's been like, just like we said, everything else been passed through slavery and history since started back. That's been happening all the time. They've watched the strongest of their brothers being destroyed. And out of fear for that, holding on to their sons tight, saying, I can't let you go out there like that. I can't let this happen to you like it happened to him. He was a strong brother, but I can't do it. When they kind of sort of should have said, I got to let you be a man. Keep in mind, man, the essence of a man And we've said it before, it comes from their mother, their identity of the type of man. Men show men how to be men in terms of how to take care of themselves, how to strive and conduct themselves. Mothers show sons how to be their own man. Just like mothers raise their daughters, show them everything that's supposed to be done as a woman. But fathers show daughters how to be their own woman. It's just the identity. It's just a different fact. That's why I get mad every time somebody that's a single parent or is a parent that's trying to keep the other parent away from them and they know they're good, say, I could do it by myself. It was never meant for us to do it by ourselves. Now, granted, if it's abuse and things of that nature, neglect, absolutely, they shouldn't be able to be around their children. But if it's not, y'all both are needed. So that's why I always say, swallow it up and get up there and let the parents do their job. Anyway, not trying to get sidetracked. But it's just, as you can see, hurt people hurt people. That's all I've been saying. Everything like y'all just said, even in the comments, hurt people hurt people. And I'm hoping when this time around, coming to these next situations, coming into these next seasons for all of us, that we get to the point where we need to start doing some really deep self-evaluation. I would absolutely recommend people go to counseling, go to therapy, because we got too much hurt. There's too much hurt going on. Some of us tried to do everything to bury the hurt. And like I said a couple of weeks ago, you can keep sweeping things under the rug, but eventually all you're going to get is a rug that's coming off the ground. And you still got to address everything that you tried to have. And it comes up unexpectedly. And like what Sam was talking about, we talk about triggers. We never know what your trigger is. Nobody knows. I didn't know what my trigger was until it got triggered. And then I went to snap. I don't know how many of y'all ever been in a situation where, everything seemed cool, but once somebody might have said something, might have did something, brought up something, and it's like, woof. And it's like a whole different person. Like, why would you say that? What made you say that? Who did you talk to? What you been doing? And it's like, those triggers just happen. Like we had the young man a couple of weeks ago that had the knife, and his mother called 911, and she said that she had called 911 before they knew that he had mental issues. Even the people in the community said, yeah, we were used to him tripping like that. And that's why I tell people, like, I don't want to say a blame for it, but I do fault a lot of times in communities. This is where we gotta come together as a community, like, hey man, we gotta do some of that stuff. I'm gonna be honest with you. If I fear for a young guy's life in my community, knowing that he was kind of going loony, knowing that if I call the police, there's a potential that they gonna feel threatened because he going off his rocker, even though we know that he's not off his rocker. I mean, even though we know he's controllable, he ain't trying to hurt nobody, I don't think I would still call the police. We need another department, another aspect to come out and talk to him. And see, when we lost places like that in Detroit, like the biggest notable place, like Herman Kiefer, when we lose those type of facilities, these free and health and mental health clinics across the country, we just said basically the people who were having mental breakdowns, good luck. That's what we were saying. And one movie in particular, I don't know if any of y'all seen it. I think it was like one of the highest grossing rated R movies ever. And that's Joker. A lot of people just thought, oh, Joker was tight. But that movie was an excellent depiction of people that have mental health issues and how they are discarded. But he was just flat out discarded. She told him, oh, yeah, we stopped the funding for that. So, and he evidently had problems throughout this whole movie. And a woman had put in his mind frame that this woman was there for him. Everywhere he went, just imagine her there. Giving him, that was like his support system. Mentally, he was just mentally screwed up from all the way from birth. And there's people out there like that. And I hope people didn't really miss this message in the movie, because that was the big message in this movie, that we have people out here that are that mentally ill, that need these facilities, that while they're fighting over, you know what I'm saying, partisan politics, while these old, these old white, like, I don't care who you are, all these old folks are acting and fighting like giant old children wearing the pins in Congress about laws to pass. And what's going to get funded and what's not going to get funded. And not wanting to do it because they don't want to work with someone that likes an elephant or someone that's mascot is a donkey. We have people out here dying, not getting the help that they need in every community. This is where we've dropped the ball at. This is why I continually said, forget the president, because if the Senate and the House ain't in order, it don't matter. We're going to still have the same delays, the stoppage in laws, the layovers. Everyone's saying, oh, we ain't going to talk about it this week. We'll talk about it in the next couple of months until we come out with an agreement. You telling me that under 400 people can stop a nation of millions from having the basic necessities that they need when it comes to mental health? You telling me that they can stop it? That lets you know that the power is real for who can control it. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And I tell people all the time, like, I'm looking at that, but these people purposely stop bills. If you don't believe me, I will go ahead and put it in the comments again. For every single one of y'all, you will see the bills that they literally stop, they hold up because they can't pass and get past partisanship. They don't want to work by it. But we out here suffering. We out here getting ready to get shot over doing votes and recounts. My goodness. Ask anyone in Congress if they worried about if they have to go through mental health issues. And if they do, what the heck? They're not worried about if it's going to be covered. They're not going to be worried about facilities they can and can't go to because they got excellent coverage. And that's all I'm saying when it comes to mental health. It's crazy. Kenji, people don't want to hear me with this. Like you just said, I'm the Mr. Oh man, come on, man. Why are you saying that? This man literally holds up the Senate. He has done it. He did it with Obama. He was doing it with Trump too. Well, man, we holding that up. Mitch McConnell think that he's the, you know what I'm saying? He's the demigod. I can hold up anything, unless it's something I want to sound like. Does that sound like what is Mitch McConnell, Kentucky? If we go by, what again? I think he's a senator for Kentucky. This is ridiculous. Mental health issues. Anybody that's from Michigan, or especially from Detroit, know Harmon Keeper. It's one of the biggest facilities, was one of the biggest facilities in the country. I know a lot of people just know it for one reason. Talking about, oh, we go there and get tested for STDs free. It was more than that. It was a mental health facility. Y'all don't understand how much went through Harmon Keeper. Why wasn't so many people? Because people were getting medication from there. They were getting counseling from there. And then up one day, y'all want to see something? Look up the day they closed Harmon Keeper. They still had people outside waiting in line thinking they was going to see their counselors. Man, it's some heartbreaking shit. And then they released out here on the streets where they actually do need help. Let me tell you something. Everybody out here that's acting crazy and really violent, out of the anger, they ain't crazy. They really need help. But the problem is we are such an angry and narcissistic society. We ain't willing to help no more. You know about it. You're like, man, I ain't about to help him. If he come with me acting kind of crazy, I'm shooting them. No, Herman Kiefer is closed. Ray, I love you, Ray. Ray is one of my amazing sisters from Japan, y'all. Amazing sister in Christ from Japan. Love you, Ray. Oh man, thank you. I'm glad you was on here. And you know, like I said, I just feel for people. We got to get to the point where, you know, especially in our community, Herman Kiefer was a staple within our community. It's ridiculous. It was a staple. Just think about that. Just think about when you see people. I have people in my family that have that type of mental issues. Now they can't get access to some of the medications they needed. And don't get me wrong, I'm not the biggest component of medications just to Debbie down you. I mean, you know, I'm sorry, I know I use that word again. They just to get you so down, you so drugged up where you just make you sleepy. I'm not with that. I want people to actually get the actual help that they need, not just without medications. You know, when you well, let's dull these senses so down that, you know, they forget all about, you know. And it's just, it's ridiculous. This is why, you know, I'm really, like I said, I'm so passionate about it because I've just seen so much. And mainly when I think it kind of really got ahead for me when I saw that guy with the knife, and the police over and over again was asking him, "Sir, please drop the knife." Please, backing up. They wasn't pursuing on him. They were backing up, and he was coming to him. Do I think that it was a little excessive in the shots that he took? Yes, but I believe it was justified. And the reason why I say it's justified is because I put myself in the position of the police. Some people say, "Oh man, they could have shot him in the leg." Yeah, they could have sued him. And like I said before, people are so sue happy, and with one is in debt. And I know a lot of people don't understand that, and they like, Randy, you know, I know that a lot of blacks don't always get mad at other blacks that just don't agree with them because they black. And I'm sorry, I'm just not gonna do that just because we're black. We have to get to the point that would make me a yes man, and I'm not a yes man. I believe in looking, like I said, I'm not fair. I mean, I'm not good. I'm not bad. I'm just fair. I look at every aspect. I look at every position of it, and I make my judgment based on the evidence at hand, the way we all should be doing it, based on the actions at hand. I hate that young man had to get shot like that. I hate that the community as a whole, that the love of the community couldn't be able to be like, "Come on, man, let's get you down. Come on, man, let's stop doing this." I remember back in the day, the cops would be the last thing we would have called in my community, especially when we know somebody like, "Hey, come on, man, chill out, man, don't call the police, man." Not unless it was something happened where he did hurt somebody. And like, okay, like, look, we can't do this. Nah, you kind of on your own, man. And it'd be like that. But most of the time, we wanted to help and look out for the best nature for him. And it's sad because I feel for his mom, because you can honestly see that his mom didn't have the means or the strength, you know what I'm saying, ability to keep him from being calm when he go off. Whether he was taking his medication, whether he was not able to get his medication anymore. I personally got a friend who had a nephew that was going crazy. And it got to the point where it got so bad, it's like, I can't have him over here no more. He's a danger to everybody. And that is the sad truth when it comes to mental health. And then let's not even talk about the people that's walking around here living with it every day. We talk about people living with PTSD and mental health issues every day, functioning like. And y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. That they're living life and they're just functioning. They're just going right through it. They're like, ugh. They get some time by themselves. They have a breakdown a little bit. They get back up, go about their business. You know what I mean? I know them. And I'm telling you, at one time and point in my life, I was one of them. I would be going through, I would help people. People ask me for advice and everything else. I'm like, man, Randy, I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. I'm like, all right. Then I'll go back when I have my own private time. I go back in there and I'll be just zoned out. I'll be completely zoned out. Like, wow, I get lost. I don't know if anybody ever had that happen to them before, but I specifically remember just getting to the point where I was zoning out. And after You know, I would do the same thing each time to get myself past it, get past it, boom, and I'll go about my business. I'm like, man, I got people to help, man. I couldn't, you know, just sit there and be around. But the fact of the matter is that you can't avoid your own health. And we do that so much, especially women. I can't front out, especially a lot of mothers. You women out there, y'all will put yourself last in everything. We can't put ourselves last, especially when it comes to your mental health and your mental well-being. It's too important. We've seen it happen. We've seen the case in the King Projects when the woman who she had to be mental ill had killed 2 of her kids and put them in a freezer. And she still had 3 kids in the house. So think about this. She killed 2 of her kids, put them in a downstairs deep freeze. 3 kids knew for over 2 years that their dead siblings was in that freezer. Can we talk about mental health that's needed? Even when I watched that trial because I remember working over there at that time frame. We were replacing underground cable over there in Martin Luther King Project. And I remember seeing all these police just come, woo, 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 woo. And it messed me up because I saw them bring out the bags. And I'm like, oh, somebody died. But then I remember the lady just going, you know, just screaming like crazy. And I remember we was all over there looking. I'm like, what the heck happened? And before I knew it, I was like, what in the world was going on? You even on that tape, you'll see me in the background with a couple of my people, my crew, like, and I'm sitting there talking, I don't know what happened, what's going on. Because, you know, the neighbors all started talking, man, there's 2 dead kids, you know, blah, blah, blah. And like you said, because they was molesting, she said, I killed them because they were molesting them. But now you got the oldest scared to death because he realized, man, she'll do this to me. Talk about she was homeschooling them and things of that nature. And even when she got on the stand, she still stayed strong in it. I'm like, this woman is warped. I'm telling you, man, it's oof. We have no idea what goes behind closed doors. Man, it's crazy. It's crazy. So many situations. And this is my hope coming into, like I said, this year, going out to this year, because I'm gonna tell you, as much as people talk about how bad this year been, I tell you one thing, it was definitely fast. We already about to be in the middle of November. This is how fast this year has been going. We only got a month and a half left, and prayers up to every single one of y'all. And despite of COVID and a lot of other things that's been going on, I can't deny, and I'm grateful for this. It's really been a blessing this year for me because it's put a lot of things in perspective, a lot of things of pure importance. And one of those things of pure importance that has mainly put me back in perspective with is making sure that I'm right mentally, most importantly. And I can't even stress this enough that we have to get to a place. I know we stress a lot of economics, and I'm a firm believer in that. I believe in economic strength and power, but I believe that we as a community, we have got to get our minds in order, our mindset changed, our minds healthy, going into 2001 and beyond. We have to. We've coming up on some of the most strenuous time frames of our lives. It's everybody. Where you thought that people would appreciate people more because you had to be away from them, people become more angry, more discontent, more ill-tempered, just flat out argumentative for no reason, just because you don't share the same views. And to me, I don't think that it came out of nowhere. I think it was the Band-Aid that got ripped open. I think when everything happened, it came for a reason to show that, hey, this is here. And as much as y'all try to keep putting Band-Aids on it, this wound ain't healing. I think it's a wound in this country, in this world, that has not gotten healed, that we continue to put Band-Aids on them. We continue to say we're going to put money in the economy. That'll help y'all forget about a lot of the prejudice and the anger and the issues that are self-loathing right now in society. We're going to put more money in there. The money ain't solved it. You got rich folks, and money ain't solved it. Well, we're going to put more TV, more shows, and all this other stuff, more entertainment, and then we're going to solve it. That ain't solved it. There's nothing going to solve it, and they don't want us to really solve it because it's big business in hate. It's big business in racism. It's big business in bad health. It's big business in sickness. It's big business for everything they got going on. You don't believe me? Go look at stocks. Go look at stock in the metal. Go look at stock in ammunition. Go look at stocks, and you will see that it's big business, okay? Pharmaceutical. They understand it's big business. Me and other friends and every people are like, we jumped on it, mRNA stock because it had a vaccine and other Pfizer. These stocks are going to shoot up every time it's a rumor that it's a possible vaccine. It's big money in this stuff. So that's why I said we need to stop looking into government help. Government don't help. Government helps itself, okay? Government, if they could legalize heroin and crack, which they've done to a point, I ain't gonna get on there so far because Facebook already trying to block a lot of the videos that I have, and a couple of y'all already know it. I went on tirades about it. But point blank, period, if they could make every illegal drug legal and tax it, they would go ahead about it. They have no cares about you. They know cigarettes cause cancer, emphysema, COPD, damaging diseases that kill you. But they say, well, we're going to slap it on the label, and as long as we can tax it, boom, we'll go about our business. It's big money. We got to understand that. It is big, big money. Because they know what's coming up. They know we're about to come up on a big war. They know we're going to come up in big trouble. They love it. They get a kick out of this. This is just what we're dealing. This is where we're at right now. And as we talked about this mental health and with regard to our communities, we have to start. It's got to start right there. We got to start by stop letting it be a taboo. We got to stop shaming people into admitting and not admitting that they need help. Stop telling young women that have been molested and abused in their household to keep quiet. Don't let uncle get in trouble. This a family secret. We got to stop that. Also with boys, because there's a lot of boys that get molested all the time, and they're walking through life, embarrassed, ashamed, never wanting to admit anything. We got to stop that. Yeah, you can tell people to go to the altar, to pray on it. But you also need to tell people, man, there's people that can help you out and talk about it. There's professionals that you can go to and get your mind released. Someone that you ain't even got to know. People that can sit there and listen to you. Be an unbiased opinion and just address what they hear and the facts of the matter. We got to get out of this taboo of communities of color. And one thing I'm glad to say is that I feel like we are starting to see it. Because it's crazy. People don't, I'm telling you, these guys, people are just, they don't get it. It's both ways. And until we can start getting to the point of letting it out, and like I said, we have got to start, and but we have to do it because it's too many. A lot of things we say is, how did they say it? Generational curses. And I agree with some of that to an aspect. The other part I say is the generational avoidance. For generations, y'all been avoiding truths within y'all families. Like you got families that it seemed like the young girls, every single one of them, they end up getting pregnant and molested, pregnant. And it's like a constant, like going on, like, come on, we got to break a chain. When we going to admit and say, look, we got to say something and stop wanting to cover it up, let it be some kind of family, like some kind of family secret, hush, hush. No, ain't no more family secrets. I'll tell my daughter or anything else, like if you have anybody touch anything or do anything to you, you let me know ASAP. You never have to be afraid. Don't let nobody tell you that, oh, don't tell, because I'm going to tell your daddy and you're going to get in trouble. That's the biggest lie. Because I haven't found out somebody put their hands on my daughter. I'm coming over there, where I found you is where I'm going to fucking lay your ass out at. It ain't no ifs, ands, or buts with me when it comes to my kids. That's just going to be, that's be on the realest. I'll say that on here, knowing that I got family all on this bad boy. If they ever thought about that, just know where I find you is where I'm going to leave you. Period. And I'll call 911. And I'll tell them what I did. And I'll tell them where they can find you. And I'll tell them, you got a time frame to get here before I burn this motherfucker alive. I don't play, in some things I don't play. I don't play that not telling stuff. I don't believe in that. I've never believed in that. If you're doing wrong, we need to get them out of here. I don't care if it's family or not. You need to get rid of individuals that think they can violate children or anybody they feel that they can get over on. I don't like that. That's a more decisive and evil type of bully. Now you got to be around them and see them all the time frame. You think I have my daughter going around thinking she's scared to go around somebody that's supposed to be a family member or something like that? You think I'm gonna be okay with that? That will never happen. And we need to stop okaying it. And it's been, like I said, there's many people, even on the book, you can see it on there. They knowingly something happened to them. Instead of getting treatment for it, some of us use it as a badge of honor and celebration. It's not, I'm sorry. There's nothing good about a 14-year-old girl having a baby. You're 14. You're supposed to be a child. I want children. We need to get back to a time frame when we allow our children to be children. Stop trying to make them up to be what they're not right now. Stop letting them try to live lives that they shouldn't be. They're not even mentally capable of living right now. A 14-year-old is not mentally capable of wanting to be a mother. Even when I heard of the stupid stuff back in the day within the Black community, it started a long time ago, where men, as soon as they start ovulating, they would go ahead and let them marry some kind of grown-ass old man. You don't believe it? Look at the color purple. That was disgusting. That's I don't care what nobody say. That's rape to the highest degree. You don't give your daughter over to some old man so they can be like a snazzy ovulating. Give me a break. You ain't gonna never point me out like that. We need to get out of this nonsense, this Stone Age way of thinking, and thinking because it's a new day and age, everybody want to be liberal. Oh, we can do it. There ain't gonna be none of that. We need to start admitting that we need help. We need to stop being around yes men. We need to stop being around super religious people. I'm not with religious people. Religion separates. Religion has nothing to do with God. Absolutely does not. No one can tell me anything different. Religion has nothing to do with God. God is love. Religion is a steady list for mind control. Period. Nothing else. And I believe that in all my heart. And I'll be able to go. I'm willing to go toe to toe with any type of religious nut that believes so. Loving God is spiritual. Doing the right thing is an innate ability to look inside yourself and know the difference between right and wrong. I'm sorry. People should know this. You shouldn't be that inept to. Now, there's people out there that want to do what they want to do because they love doing it. Yeah, that's just a childlike mentality. But other than that, we need to get to the point where we are open and can have open dialogue and feel comfortable and feel loved enough and feel safe enough to admit that we need help and that we're tired of being mentally bound, tired of being tired and wanting to get the help that we need and deserve. All right, everybody. That's as far as I'm going tonight. I'm gonna thank y'all for tuning in tonight. Like I said, go ahead and share and get this out to everybody. Next week we will be back, of course, Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Again, keep my friend Janae and the Berry family in y'all prayers. Also, like I said, Jordan and Don, Mac, and his wife Crystal, and all the rest of our members, and myself as well, as we keep y'all in our prayers as well too. And then, like I said, just in closing tonight, in the reference of everything that's going on, maybe I should say 7:30. I'll change this to 7:30 with Kenzie. We'll say 7. We'll say 7-ish. But just in closing, man, just learn to love each other and appreciate each other more. And let's stop being so much of a yes man. The best of friends will tell you the truth, whether you want to hear it, but they'll tell you because you need to hear it. All right, everybody. God bless. Good night. I will see y'all next week on Unfiltered. Till then.